Dollar. Dirty money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yep, what's good, original crew, man? We're back. We have a new Patrick CC today. We have the Friends with Joe Rogan effect. Would you be, if you could be friends with Joe Rogan, would you be friends with Joe Rogan? Like, the biggest impact for me when it comes down to Joe Rogan, because I know a lot of people talk about the Joe Rogan podcast, or they talk about the, like him with UFC.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan biggest impact to me is Fear Factor. Still to this day. Mm-hmm. When you say the name Joe Rogan, I'm automatically going to Fear Factor. Yeah. I don't think about nothing else. It's Fear Factor all the way. Like that's what, and then also him being a comedian. Also, I don't know if you knew that fact.
I don't think I did. I think about Fear Factor, and then I think about his podcast.
Oh, you think about so you go to podcast?
Only because it runs together now, because people like Joe Rogan podcast.
Rogan podcast.
It just runs together.
Did you know about the UFC?
I don't think I did. I don't think I knew about it.
Well, hopefully you might learn some stuff today about Joe.
And that's the thing. I don't know a lot about him to be like if I'd be friends with him or not.
Well, I'm saying because I feel like it'll put a check in your pocket.
Well, you
know what I'm saying?
Check in my pocket, good.
But with that being said, before we get into it, make sure you check out the links in the description box
down below.
You already know where to go if you want to first support. All you have to do is check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's visuals,
like it in with a thumbs up.
But you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's get into it, y'all. Let's check it out. Let's see what it's about. Let's go.
Having friends in high places is a cheat code to becoming successful in any industry, but sometimes it feels like it's the only way to become successful in the entertainment industry. This has become more apparent in the stand-up comedy / podcast industry within the past few years. The Joe Rogan effect, or the Brogan effect, is essentially that any comedian who is friends with, or regularly featured on the Joe Rogan Experience, would have a significant advantage to becoming a wildly successful comedian or podcaster. Some of these comedians are hilarious, and others are clearly not cut from the same cloth. Even Cat Williams has been critical of the Rogan sphere.
That would be like me being on Joe Rogan. Joe don't want me on there. I need to be on Shannon. Joe got 6 comedians that never been funny. He want to push out.
Today we are going to analyze Joe Rogan's impact on the comedy industry and the comics who strategically aligned themselves with Rogan to advance their careers, starting with Brendan Schaub, who Joe convinced to become a comedian.
I think a lot of people do that though. Not just with Joe Rogan. But once they see somebody becoming successful, they try to align themselves with them. It's like fake friendships. It's the fake friendship thing. Just so, because I see they really taking off, and so I'm gonna make sure I align myself so I can get in
same position, or those same rooms or whatever.
Or if you need to think about somebody, you can think about me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be comedy, or whether it be fashion, or whether it be this or this or this.
I don't want that.
I've seen it happen.
I don't want that.
Literally, I've seen it happen right before my eyes, though. Even like with me when I was doing stuff, like, and especially in college, and my professor was like, "Hey, this is somebody who's gonna focus." Now they just flock to you off fake friendships. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, bro, I was like, bro, to be real, I don't even know, like, after school where I want to take everything. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes just like after that, you like, where do I go from here?
True.
So it was just like, but I was like, yo, I don't want no fake friends. Like, I already knew. I don't know. It's weird. Yeah, it's weird vibes.
Only to regret that decision a few years later. In December of 2014, Joe was sitting across the table from UFC heavyweight Brendan Schaub, who was just coming off his second loss in a row, this time by knockout. Joe spent 20 to 30 minutes dissecting Brendan's fighting skill and capabilities, and then blatantly stated that he is not good enough to fight in the UFC.
The reality of your skill set, where you at now, I don't see you beating the elite guys. It's not that you don't try hard, it's not that you're not dedicated, it's not that you're not disciplined, it's not that you're not intelligent. There's that other people can do that you can't do.
Now, Joe was just trying to be honest. He was trying to be a good friend. Their other friend, Brian Callen, who is a stand-up comedian, chimed into the conversation to suggest Schaub had a comedy career in front of him.
What I care about is the fact that you have a future in other things and you're really good at. Like, you're really funny.
Dude, you know how many you know how many pictures that I've gotten sent to me that say, don't put me in a sauna, make me my way out? I know. He say funny shit, dude.
Now, when you have two professional comedians telling you that you are funny, and you already host a successful sports/comedy show, it's obvious that pursuing a comedy career is better than continuing to get knocked out in the US.
I hate everybody trying to put the comedy tag on everything nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, instead of saying, hey, he has a bright future in being a comedian, how about say he has a bright future in being an entertainer? And entertainers very much so very more broad than
putting you in this small box of
putting
like
a label as a comedian.
Yeah, comedian.
I like honestly because even with the like the skit stuff and on now everybody, oh no I'm just comedian because I like no, you just being an entertainer. Just say, hey, I'm an entertainer. Quit throwing the tag of, hey, I'm a comedian. Like, no shots, but even like, can't think of his name. And I think I sent it to you earlier. The dude, Charleston White. I don't look at Charleston White as a comedian. I understand he's trying to go to the entertainment world and he's trying to do things to entertain people, but you can't just throw comedian title on that. Just say, hey, I'm just going into the entertainment world and I'm just here to entertain people, whether it be serious topic, whether it be funny. At the end of the day, you can click on my content and be entertained. Yeah. But when you throw in comedy and I don't hear jokes, and then sometimes you be like, you'll run with like saying stuff and be like, oh nah, bro, I'm just a comedian. I'm like, you trying to take it. Yeah. Like, I don't like that though.
UFC. So Brendan officially retired from MMA and began podcasting full-time. Schaub has been featured on the Joe Rogan Experience 90 times, which is more than any other guest in history. His exposure to the massive JRE fanbase allowed him to bypass the 10-year grind through small clubs and dive bars that all comedians have to do to build their name in the industry. In less than 1 year, Brendan was doing solo stand-up tours, and his shows were in front of fairly large crowds considering he had not proved himself as a funny comedian. He started another podcast called The King and the Sting alongside Theo Vaughn. By the end of 2018, Brendan owned and produced 3 very successful podcasts, was traveling around the country selling out comedy shows while being aligned with some of the biggest comics in the business after just 2 years in. He then released his first stand-up special on Showtime called You'd Be Surprised. Now, releasing a special is a huge moment in a comedian's career, as it stamps a permanent piece of their art that was carefully crafted over years of hard work. Most legendary comics waited 8 to 10 years before they were good enough to release their first special. With an average rating of 1.4 out of 10 stars, it's safe to say that comedy fans decided that Brendan was not ready. And while I'm not going to sit here and pick apart his entire special, his first joke about getting a haircut definitely speaks volumes about what he thinks is a good punchline.
You go, but don't sweat it, bro. We got Jamal here. He's very good. Just sit in the chair, he'll be right with you. So I sit in the chair, I'm thinking to myself, all right, clearly Jamal's a black dude. This dude comes out of the bathroom, he's all, what's up, man? I'm Jamal. He was Asian as shit. Feel way better about this if I needed help with math or something, you know? I was just like...
The joke is 2 minutes long, but the whole story was about how he got a bad haircut by an Asian barber named Jamal. He also made fun of an Asian doctor who was servicing his injury after his loss to Travis Brown.
This giant Asian doctor walks up to me and goes, Mr. Schaub, I'm sorry for your loss. He takes out the biggest syringe you've ever seen in your life, like he's out of a goddamn comic book, goes, Mr. Schaub, I have to numb your lip. You need many, many stitches. This be worst pain in your life, guaranteed. Worst pain in your life.
As if the joke wasn't bad enough, this is the actual voice of the doctor he was mimicking.
I take care of all the fighters as well as employees within the UFC family.
Even Rogan said years later that Schaub's special was a mistake.
The first one, I would have probably tried to talk you out of it, but I already talked you out of fighting. Yeah. And I was like, I can't talk him out of this too.
Joe now admits that Brendan was not funny enough to release a special, but continuously allows him to promote his comedy to the millions of JRE viewers. They both convinced the JRE community that Brendan's second comedy special, Gringo Papi, was...
Is it like?
I had a question too, but go ahead.
No, say yours.
No, because I've been sitting up here thinking. I'm like, what defines someone as being a comedian? Because
it's a good question.
You know what I'm saying? Because you can make people laugh, but
entertainer.
You know what I'm saying? Like
entertainer.
I'm like, okay, 5 people, just hypothetically speaking. Yeah. These few people you around, Joe and whoever the other guy, like in your little friend base, like your friend group, you may make them laugh or whatever. They may think you funny for whatever reason, but going like selling these shows out and like different people with different personalities, different like walks of life, different like everything is different. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So what's maybe funny to one person may not be funny to the masses.
So I'll say this, because again, the people that he's around also consider themselves as comedians. So, but at what level of a comedian are they as well to be able to tell you also you should follow?
You got it. You should follow this path.
Because honestly, are those that you surround yourself that call themselves comedians, are they even funny to the masses?
That's a good question.
Because if they're not funny to the masses, obviously you would not be funny as well.
Yeah, and this is just speaking in general. Like I'm really wondering, because we know people that want to be comedians and call themselves comedians, and I'm like, but you're not really like and if you are and if we do laugh, it's not necessarily because your jokes are funny. I'm just speaking in general.
No, I know
it's just me because it's just how you trying to like force us to laugh. So now I'm laughing because it's like cringe.
Because you remember some comments people told me, "Hey, Key, you should do stand up comedy." I'm like, no. I can entertain you. I'm good at entertaining people. I think
you're funny when it comes to because you don't have a filter and sometimes you don't think before you speak, so you just say things.
But I
and
cannot
how you deliver it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't. You're not a comedian.
I'm not a comedian because I cannot come up here and tell jokes. I can tell you about my life story and make it funny. But I don't think I could ever be a comedian. I would never want to go into that realm.
Right, and then on the other hand, people are like, well, anyone can be a comedian. And I'm like,
it's an art.
Just because
it's an
I
art
make
form.
Someone laugh doesn't mean that I'm a comedian. I don't know.
Like,
I really want to know.
Anybody can do anything.
Anybody can do anything.
But you have to put the work in. And he didn't put the work in. My thing is, because what I was going to say was, is it a possibility that he's just good at entertaining and being able to have a great conversation with? The reason why Joe keeps bringing him back on. Because obviously for you to be on there 90 times, Joe sees a spike in his viewer ratings when you come on. So is there a possibility that you're just very entertaining for his audience? And so he hits a spike in views when you are on. So that's the reason why he keeps bringing you on. Not because you're funny. You can be funny and quirky. Is it quirky the right word? Quirky. Y'all know what I'm saying. But you're not necessarily, as far as being a comedian, funny.
And he could possibly be a comedian later, but like working on your craft. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I think it's like kind of like too soon of a leap. Mm-hmm. But I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Was going to be much better, and somehow Brendan outdid his last performance, going from 1.4 stars to 1.1 out of 10 stars. Rogan continuing to amplify Schaub just pissed off the fandom. This guy is my hero. Average fighter, average podcaster, terrible comedian, awful fight analysis. He's proven you don't have to be great at anything to be successful. Now, I'm not blaming Joe for the mass hatred towards Schaub. He definitely did that to himself. If anything, this just proves that Joe is a good friend, willing to continuously promote his buddy despite the obvious lack of comedic talent. Which begs the question that people have been asking for years. Does Joe Rogan understand comedy? Because there have been countless examples of jokes sliding right over his smooth, round head.
Dolphins commit infanticide. They kill babies.
They do it on purpose.
Yeah. Well, they killed their own.
Mulder was so smart and thoughtful. He wrote my 4 best movies. That's why he died. I made Tusk and Yoga Hosers. Like, without that dog writing for me.
How'd he write for you?
It's a joke, Joe. He was feral. He's just saying he was so smart.
Bro.
He was so smart. How smart was he? He's so smart he wrote my last few scripts. Joke didn't quite land.
I was missing something. I
my
wasn't paying
bad.
attention.
Since Joe Rogan has been a comedian for 36 years and is the highest ranking comedy tastemaker, you would assume that no joke would ever have to be explained to him.
That all came from a pair of rich, noble. Where were they again? In France?
Wiggers, I think they called them.
No, Wiggers are white people that wish they were black. It's a totally different thing.
Yeah. Yeah. We had the first one at our school growing up, and they put him in learning disabled classes. How crazy is that?
Ever?
Yeah.
You guys did the first one ever? I doubt it.
Joe being so quick to explain or take a comedian's words so literally is arguably more hilarious than if he just laughed. And to be fair, what makes Theo Von so funny is that you never really know if what he's saying is true or not.
But you could also not see your body if you want. Like, I'll go sometimes, you know, I remember one time I went like 8 months without seeing my legs.
Theo's first appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience was in March of 2017. By then, he already had a Netflix special that came out 1 full year earlier. Now, getting a Netflix comedy special is huge today, and it definitely still was in 2016. But you have to consider Netflix had 75% less subscribers back then, so way less people had the potential to see it. It wasn't until Theo started making appearances on podcasts that he developed such a diehard fan base. So getting on Joe Rogan was arguably more important than Netflix. And it was on this very first appearance where Theo's ridiculousness and Joe's killing the joke dynamic was established.
Like, if a plane crashed, I already know I'm planning ahead, dude. I'd eat a Vietnamese guy.
Why?
Because that's easy. It's a starter move. If you attack somebody bigger, if you eat somebody bigger in front of other people, it's going to alarm people.
You got to eat a small person, so stature is important.
I think if you gum down a Viet, people aren't going to be that upset at you.
Well, the Vietnamese people are going to be super upset. What are you talking about?
No,
Somebody's
okay.
dad.
Yeah, they're more understanding of things.
Joe ain't getting the joke, bro. He ain't catching
And
it,
you
bro.
never know what's gonna come out of this man's mouth.
Kind of like me.
Yes.
Like,
That,
y'all, because she be telling me, like, why sirs, like, we be having these conversations off camera, she be like, really, you need to watch what you say, because
you have to watch what you say, y'all. He has no filter. He has doubted back a little bit.
It's some stuff, bro.
I'll be like, bro,
I could really say, and it's just funny. It just is
the stuff you say when it's just us. Sometimes everyone doesn't understand you. So,
and especially in the culture we live in nowadays, like, I'll say this: in the early 2000s, if YouTube and stuff was going on, and bro, you know how much like entertainment I could give off because everybody would enjoy it. I'm like when I talk about like edgy stuff, I'm like Bernie Mac edgy. Like, bro, I'm gonna say what I want to say.
People like, whoa, buddy, don't compare yourself to Bernie.
Oh no, I ain't talking about on no comedy level. No. I'm saying no, not at all. But I'm saying like as far as the edginess.
Dial it back, buddy.
I'm talking about it's on the edginess side.
Dude.
Joe begins to take Theo seriously and starts talking about why Theo's wrong here. But Theo is a master and is able to use Joe's own boring tangent as the punchline.
But what is interesting is like Vietnam is one of the few places where Americans can go back to Vietnam and they don't seem to hold any grudge at all.
Exhibit A. Exhibit A, man, honestly.
Theo told another story about being neighbors with and working out with David Duke, who was a KKK member elected as a Louisiana state representative. Instead of hearing Theo's insane story, Joe just began searching Wikipedia to learn about David instead.
He touted himself as a pro-life fiscal conservative, was known as an ex-Klan member. He eschewed overtly racist language and instead pointed to crime in the city, criticizing affirmative action and minority set-asides.
Yeah, I just did chest and tries with him, so I wasn't in all that. You know, we just did basic workout.
Title this, Joe interrupts another guest story to try and remember something that doesn't even contribute to the conversation. Despite this, Theo did make Joe laugh a lot. Some argue that the only time Joe ever belly laughs is because of Theo.
Oh, dude, I used to do, sometimes I would do so much cocaine, my freaking eyes would dry out.
Ooh,
and
look at you grinding. You're thinking about it. You go deep, huh?
Oh, dude.
But you're that dude. You go deep with whatever the fuck you're doing.
I like to get right on the... I like to be a peeping Tom if I can.
Where the hell is Theo from? That country ass accent, bro. It reminds me of. Let me see where you from.
Is he from? Wait, before you say where he's from, do you think is he from where you think he will be from?
Where you think he will be from? Where you just say? I looked it up.
Is he from like?
No, just say something. What?
Kentucky?
Oh, it's giving Kentucky.
It's giving me Kentucky.
No, it's way more down south.
Is it way more down south? Where you from?
Bro, what's the population in this town, though?
It's giving me Kentucky, but where he from?
Man, he's from a little town in Louisiana called Covington. Louisiana.
I was going to say Louisiana because he was talking about the dude and...
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. What was the dude? David?
Yeah.
He was talking about him, and I was like...
The population is 11,000.
And for him to, like, be talking about him and trying to tell this story, I'm like, he has to be from, like, Louisiana. But it's giving me Kentucky, though.
Yeah. Like, but it's 11,000, so small town.
Small.
That's why I was like, it got to be a small country town. 11,000 ain't that much.
He deep.
Yeah.
He deep down there.
I'll watch your whole family eat dinner.
Oh, he be in
the demand
swamps.
for Theo Von content exploded. The JRE Clips channel.
Hold on. What's the one?
Duck Dynasty.
Duck.
Baby, I used to watch Duck Dynasty faithfully, baby.
They in the Louisiana in the swamps.
Baby,
yeah.
faithfully.
The demand for Theo Von content exploded. The JRE Clips channel would post animated versions of Theo and Joe's conversations that received millions of views, since Theo's recollection of small specific details made it so easy to paint a picture. Every time Theo would appear on JRE, he received a huge boost in subscribers, helping him grow his own This Past Weekend podcast. On his third Rogan appearance on July 6, 2018, he posted his podcast with Jordan Peterson the exact same day, which became his most viewed video on his channel for years. Despite the obvious advantage Theo had by being Joe's friend, he did not abuse it. He's only been a guest on the podcast 7 times in 8 years. Theo clearly wanted to build a name for himself, start his own empire, and create an environment where people would understand him and his humor instead of Joe missing 50% of his jokes. And at this point, the awkward silence where Joe either ignores a joke or doesn't understand it, and then the comedian is trying to figure out how to pivot, is funnier than if the joke just actually landed.
Everyone has the right to be whatever the they are.
Oh, you think?
I think so.
What about Nazis?
They have more of a right. A third right.
I don't think that's right. I think it's something. That's a different word.
Reich?
Yeah. What does that even mean? What is Third Reich?
I don't know.
I know what the Third Reich is, but I don't even know what it means. Take a guess. I literally have no idea what that means.
You could argue that Joe's podcast is so multifaceted, covering a wide range of topics such as news, pop culture, UFC, cold plunging, alien conspiracies, DMT, chimpanzees, that it's difficult for him to immediately assess a joke when he is discussing something serious. Then again, why wouldn't you expect a comedian to crack jokes no matter what you're talking about? That's their job. Or maybe Joe is playing the straight man role, which is the partner in a comedy team who feeds lines to the other comedian who then makes witty replies. One person we can guarantee he is not playing this role to is Brian Callen. Joe and Brian have been friends for decades, and Brian has co-hosted the podcast 85 times. You would think Joe would understand that Brian pretending to be a tough guy is a funny gimmick since he is a small old man.
I got bullied for a full year, and it turned me into if somebody tried to bully me, I'll show up at your house and kill you. That's what happens. I get so angry.
I'm not buying that even when he talks remotely.
Like that. I hate when...
Hey,
that's
bro,
not true.
You bully me.
If I
you try bullying me right now, motherfucker. Hold on, let me handle this.
Here's the problem. You've talked to too many guys that let you say shit like that, and then it becomes like vernacular.
And in case you're wondering, this is how you're supposed to riff with Brian when he starts running his mouth.
I'm going to tell you this right now.
Yeah.
Watch your tone.
Okay. What's going to happen? What are you going to do? Use some of that boxing you've been doing?
Don't you disrespect.
But since Joe has been a diehard UFC fan and employee since day one,
I ain't gonna lie, that was
I
awkward,
love when
bro.
people make their own self laugh, because what
That
are we doing?
And he was laughing hard, bro.
he is not even remotely interested in joking about it.
Should they do something like that in UFC where different people that are more behind the scenes fight each other?
No.
So, you versus Bruce Buffer.
No.
Would you watch that?
No, you want to watch people fight that are actual fighters.
So when Brian turns on this tough guy act, Joe is convinced he's being serious because he hangs around fighters and hits the gym occasionally. Then again, you could argue that Joe is just genuinely sick of Brian and has been listening to his bullshit for years. Like on episode 2017 when Brian was joking about Schaub returning to the UFC to fight Derek Lewis.
He was throwing Derek Lewis out there with no gloves.
Good Lord.
But wait, hold on. Just hear me out.
Do you want to die?
Sir, hear me out.
What?
I'm just talking about just shoot a blast double.
Shut
the ground, and then we got that.
The f up. Shut the f up.
And despite being on Rogan's podcast 85 times, Bryan Callen has yet to prove to the audience that he is funny. Callen has released 4 specials over the past 12 years, and none of them were purchased by a major streaming network. All of them were released for free online, and the most popular one has not even reached 1 million views. Callen's comedy is just okay. It's solid. It's decent, which some would argue is worse than being bad. Being so middle of the road that you can't say anything positive or negative. It just exists. Luckily, Bryan has Joe so he can maintain his career and finances. Recently on the podcast, he tried to divert the conversation to get Joe to promote his newest business venture, Toehold, a luxury flip-flop brand that sells pairs for $1,000 and features really sick designs like Bad Motherfucker and We the People. Sick.
Hey. Let's be real though. What's the difference between that and wanting some high-end flip-flop? Now, because people like, but that's an established brand like Balenciaga. If Balenciaga put out some flip-flop sandals, it's gonna be about $1,000. Let's be real, and the quality be the same thing. That's the reason why I like to be completely honest. If you want to go into like fashion and stuff, like really work on your materials, really work. Like you can still get some good quality stuff. It doesn't have to be gilding, like in just a basic print. You can go out here and get some good quality product and put a higher price on it. Don't sell yourself short. But I ain't gonna lie, $1,000 for some flip flops, man. Sign me up for what's the spot?
Hold on. $4,000.
Hold on, what's the spot? What's the Old Navy? You know, Old Navy be flip flop sale. So I be what is it? 10 for $10? Like the dollar little flip flops, little shower shoes. Sign me up for them joints, bro. I only wear flip flops. My toe, black men, we don't wear our toes.
Yes, black men do.
Until they hit about 40, 50 and they be on that barbecue grill.
No,
we wear sandals, bro. We wear sandals.
Sandals?
Well, I mean slides. Not with the toes in between the toes.
I've seen them.
How old were they?
In their 20s.
You a motherfucker. Who, your brother?
No.
All right, then. So your brother.
I have seen my brother wear slides.
He wears slides.
Slides.
Yeah, we don't put the crease in
but
between
I have
the toes.
seen black men wear.
Who?
Yeah, they hang around a certain group of people, but they
see, that's the thing. I'm talking about black men.
That's all right. They black.
We wear slides, bro. Once you get older, you know what I'm saying. You get that daddy age, and you start putting them look like.
Now, if
want me to tell you who I can really see somebody? Your cousin Anthony. I can see him. He looks like the type to wear the in between the toes.
I've seen his feet out before.
He's like my dad looks like the type, but my dad he wear the joints the grill joint. Which one?
My uncle do.
Bo?
Oh no.
I was about to say. Oh, you talking about Phoenix?
Yeah.
That's because. Again, certain type of people.
Yeah.
Certain type of they hang.
But look, if they're comfy.
Hold on. And his son, I know his son do.
I don't know.
I know for a fact.
Sure. Certain group of type of people.
The other one wear the slides.
But if they're comfy, yeah, cool. But $4,000 or $5,000, that's $400. That's $400. But the other one was
I will say this: the quality of the sandal right here actually does look very good.
It looks good.
I don't know how it feel on the feet, but it do look like it'll last because that looks like real leather.
I wonder, the material.
Yeah, black BML.
Black, yes. Black.
No, I'm just saying.
I know.
BML.
I know.
Bad mother.
I know.
And then but black.
I was looking at that
at the same time. That's crazy, bro. Patrick, you will highlight this one.
Lines like Bad Motherfucker and We the People. Sick.
Hey, put your toes on.
Sick.
Take those off.
Shut the f up. Listen to him. Come on. So silly. I know you want to promote your goofy flip flops.
I'm not promoting them. I just got them.
Even call them.
That's what they call flip flops.
Feel them under your feet.
I said
Feel them
sandals.
for you.
Sandals different.
Come on.
You gotta love Brian panicking when he realizes that Joe making fun of his sandals is not gonna boost sales. But no worries, they put a quote of Joe on the website saying they are the best flip-flops he ever had. And this is not the first time a comedian came on the show to promote their product that Joe hated. Steve-O came on the pod with a bag full of stuff that he was selling, which Joe was not enthusiastic about, only to completely destroy Steve-O's newest business venture.
Hey, let me tell you about what I'm selling for cheddar.
You got a bag of stuff you're selling?
Steve-O's butt wipes for your butthole.
Well, that's where generally you'd use a butt wipe.
Yeah, flushable butt wipes.
You wouldn't use it for your cheeks. They're flushable? Not really. Let me tell you something about those flushable butt wipes. Don't flush them.
Oh, yeah?
No, they all talk to a plumber. Those things.
Not all of them, man. Not all.
You don't know what's going on in them pipes.
Well, we sure been flushing and flushing and flushing and flushing.
Flushable, but sometimes they don't always.
Nah, cause my mom, the one she gets the cheaper joints. They be clogging hers up, and I be like, they ain't flushable. You gotta get the ones like we got. Those are thinner though. Have you ever felt the ones my mom got?
I don't know, but in the future we gotta talk about it. Come on.
See, we ain't never had no bagged up pipes here. We
ain't never had no bagged up
every
pipes.
and I buy the bundles.
What's going on?
I buy the bundles. What, you gonna hop in the shower every time now? Cause you use hella wipes. It's just women use hella wipes. So what, you gonna get in the shower every time after? Spray it through cheeks. Shh, let the water just slide down. They crack it in there.
Things all clog up. They don't break down. They get stuck in pipes. Yeah.
I picked the wrong place to.
What about toilet paper?
Are butt wipes flushable? Flushable butt wipes. Are they flushable? They're not. They tell you don't flush them. You're flushing a rag down the toilet. You're not even supposed to flush paper towels. Paper towels break down in your hand when you get them wet. Those things don't break down. Don't sell those.
Joe quite literally said the words, "Don't sell those." As Steve-O stuttered and tried to figure out what to say, Joe proceeded to spend the next 5 minutes proving his argument how flushable wipes will lead to catastrophic plumbing issues that will cost thousands of dollars to repair and will harm the safety of the public water supply. Joe decimated the product, and Steve-O thought he was going to get a quick plug, which again is a testament of Joe's character. He might be your buddy, but he's not just going to blindly co-sign whatever product you're promoting. However, this is nothing compared to Shane Gillis, who straight up said to Joe's face he was using him for publicity. In 2019, Shane Gillis was a buzzing comedian recognized by the industry for being a rising star. He secured the coveted position as a writer for Saturday Night Live. Having SNL on your resume is strong enough to build an entire career off of. However, Shane was fired just 5 days later, making it the shortest tenure in SNL history. He was fired for making a racist joke on his podcast where he used the CH slur to describe Chinese people in a joke. 2 years after he was fired, Shane went on Rogan's podcast to tell the story. Shane was detailing the events that led to his termination and tried to make a joke about the conversation he had with Lorne Michaels, the SNL producer who was about to fire him.
If I get fired here, whatever, I'll just go do Joe Rogan next week and I'll be fine. Anyway, I thought that was funny. No?
What?
I was like, I literally...
Is that what you thought?
I literally thought that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought it would be funny.
Well, it could have been funny.
Yeah.
I was booked up, though.
No, it's fine. It was just funny to truly... That was a conversation I actually had.
Really?
In Lorne Michaels' office in the middle of that.
That's hilarious.
I was in pure fucking... panic.
Terror?
Yeah.
Not only is this awkward moment absolute gold, it also was the first time anyone had ever blatantly said to Joe's face they will use him to advance their career. Now, Shane was joking. The whole joke was that this was a stupid, arrogant thought. At the same time, was it? I mean, you could easily argue that a comedian cracking jokes on Joe Rogan's podcast will get you more career advancement than Saturday Night Live will. When JRE was exclusive to Spotify, it averaged 11 million viewers per episode. Now that it's available on YouTube, I'm sure those numbers have gone up. Not to mention all of the channels that clip his podcast and cross-post across all social medias. Saturday Night Live's season premieres in the past few years have averaged around 4 or 5 million, and that's just the first episode. When's the last time you saw an SNL sketch show up on your For You page. As far as creating an independent comedy career, doing stand-up shows around the country, and boosting your social media followers, Joe Rogan's podcast will help comedians far more than Saturday Night Live. Also, if Shane didn't go on Rogan's podcast to tell this story about him being fired, most people probably wouldn't even know about it. Less than 2 months after his first JRE episode, Shane recorded his first special and posted it for free on YouTube. This 1-hour set was simply his best jokes in front of a tiny crowd in Austin, Texas, far from the glamorous, high-produced theater performances you typically see. And this was easily the funniest comedy special to come out in the past few years. With 26 million views on YouTube and an average 8.4 out of 10 stars, comedy fans love Shane Gillis. And Rogan also loves Shane Gillis. Shane just has to hit him with simple premises like gay jokes for Joe to burst into tears.
Armpit hair doesn't bother me at all.
No.
Doesn't
On
bother
a lady?
me.
So
No.
wait, you like jack ladies with armpit hair?
Yeah, a little bit of
You're
armpit
getting
hair.
close, dude. You're so close.
Not so close, child.
That's as close as it gets.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I like a good buzz cut.
In fact, Joe thought Shane was so funny that they started a podcast within the JRE podcast called Protect Our Parks. Rogan, Gillis, Ari Shaffir, and Mark Norman have done a 3 to 4 hour podcast roughly once per month for the past 2 years. Within those 2 years, Netflix bought Shane's second special, Beautiful Dogs. With Netflix comedy being more relevant than ever, this was a huge opportunity for Shane. Since his first special was posted on his own YouTube page, you could argue that maybe he got some biased favoritism. However, Netflix would expose him to a much more broad, unbiased audience, and he seemingly won them over as well, securing a 7.9 out of 10 star rating. Shane Gillis is definitely one of the funniest comedians to come out of the Rogan sphere. He is an example of a comedian who would have gotten to this level of fame and recognition regardless, but being friends with Joe Rogan helped speed up that process a little bit. But besides Shane Gillis and Theo Von, the JRE community is sick and tired of the rest of Joe's core group. Ari Shaffir, Bert Kreischer, and even Tom Segura are not celebrated like they used to be. In 2010, Joe invited Ari on the 3rd ever episode of the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. Ari was in 9 of the first 100 episodes and has been a guest over 60 times, making him the 4th most frequent guest of all time. It's safe to say he is a day one JRE community member, yet he isn't exactly the most beloved. Ari is not necessarily disliked for his humor, as he is most definitely a seasoned comedian who will make you laugh, but on multiple occasions his jokes come off as mean-spirited and hateful. For example, 4 hours after the reports of the death of Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna, Ari posted a tweet celebrating his death, and then after catching a huge wave of criticism from this tweet, he shortly doubled down with a video.
As I know, there's always a lot of hate and pain in the world, and there's always a bunch of terrible stories, and every once in a while there's a good story. Good story comes out. The guy who got away with it got his today. Kobe Bryant is gone. I'm here in Charlotte.
You know what's be so crazy though in a situation like this? Somebody's gonna celebrate the fact that you, whenever you do pass, somebody's gonna celebrate that.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be somebody you never thought was gonna celebrate, and it's gonna be somebody that's close to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna be able to be here to see it because there's always somebody around you. They have to tolerate you, but when you were dead and gone, they're gonna celebrate it because they're so relieved that you're gone. And that's the problem with people like this. Like, I never celebrate, you know what I'm saying, somebody dying, no matter good, bad, or whatever they have done. It's like, damn, at the end of the day, did they learn a lesson from whatever they did do? You know what I'm saying? Like, even, I can't think, is it Caitlyn Jenner? Is that?
Caitlyn Jenner?
Yeah. Celebrating when O.J. Simpson died. I'm just trying to make sure it's the right name.
Yeah.
I'm like, but you also have had an encounter that caused you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It caused to take somebody's life away. Possibly when you pass, they family could probably celebrate because like you was able to survive, but my loved one is gone. So now I'm happy that you're no longer here. So karma does come back around in tenfold.
Yeah.
like I never celebrate with anybody death. I have never been happy.
Weird to me, like regardless of the fact of how you may feel about them and what they've done when they was here.
Yeah,
that's not for me to judge. That's not for me. I don't have no type of place or power to put you in.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So
like, it's been plenty. I know plenty of people who are dead and gone that growing up, like, I beef with, had animosity with, everything, and when hearing about their death, it was like, damn, bro. I still felt remorse for them. Yeah. Even though I knew they didn't like me to their guts. You know what I'm saying?
But that just speaks more on your character.
I'm just like, damn. And then hearing some of the manners that they had died. Like, one comedian, says he took himself out. And I remember that. I remember, like, I ain't necessarily had any interaction with him. Mm-hmm. But one time a situation happened with a group of guys and he was involved. I'm just like, dude, I didn't even know you. Then less than a year later, you gone. I was just like, damn, bro. Yeah. Like, I know your family hurt off of that one. I know, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm like, you shouldn't. But even hearing about other people, and I'm just like, damn, bro. Like, look at, like, the impact that they have with their passing amongst their families, amongst their friends, and even if they have kids, I'm like, damn, their kids will never be able to experience them. Yeah. Like, I look at that aspect of it. I don't look at the, well, they were this and this and this and all this. Like, at the end of the day, have grace, bro. Have remorse. Like, I mean, you got that much hate in your heart?
Yeah, I would never. And definitely, like, going online saying stuff like that's, whatever. It's weird to me. Like, if you feel some sort of way, say it while I'm here. Let me know how you really feel about me. You know what I'm saying? Don't wait till I'm gone and can't defend myself or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I would never.
The home of the team that originally drafted him. Maybe he wouldn't have that chick in Denver if he had stayed in Charlotte with the Hornets. But anyway, the point is, dude, it's like...
Rogan tried to explain to his viewers that this is just a part of who Ari is.
No, I never want to say it's a good thing that he did that, but he needed to know that there are consequences for just saying ridiculous shit that you're not supposed to say when people die.
And like the good friend that Rogan is, he even went as far as taking partial responsibility for another grown man's actions to try and take some of the heat off Ari's back.
One part of me feels responsible. This is why. I convinced him that he could have an iPhone and that he could be okay. Just put a timer on it. I go, just put a timer on it. I go, my daughter has a timer on her phone. She can only use it for an hour a day. Just put a timer on your phone. And he should have stuck with a flip phone, man.
Then again, Rogan simply laughed off Ari's behavior when he decided to spike Bert Kreischer's drink with Molly. One night, Bert invited his friend and fellow comedian Ari Shaffir over to his house to do a podcast. Ari shook Bert's 13 and 15-year-old daughter's hands, walked into the podcast room where they were going to share some drinks. Then Ari decided to secretly slip a capsule of MDMA, aka Molly, into Bert's drink without him knowing. Bert went into a full-blown panic, and it didn't make it any easier that he had to get on a flight early the next morning. But Joe Rogan thought the situation was hilarious.
Because he spiked Bert. He gave his friend Molly. That's not okay.
It's not okay.
But wait, that's hilarious though. It's still hilarious.
I don't believe your fake anger.
That's a real weird one.
There's no fake anger in this.
That's a weird one.
Here's what I did.
Ain't no way I'm gonna sit across from you and knowing you did that and not get up and whoop your ass.
And did he say he had his kids? What?
Yeah.
Like, that's even more like, why would you do that? You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Why would you do that in the first place? But then at the same in the same breath, he had his kids with him.
Facts.
Like, that's weird.
Then y'all sit up here and laugh about it.
Laughing.
Nah, I'm whooping your ass though.
Some people are just a little
weird.
People are weird.
You side with this, Ari.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. End of story. Thank you.
No, he said he's not on your side.
That's not what I heard.
No matter if you're right or wrong, you can always count on Joe to be there for you. The reason he defended Ari so hard is probably because he knows he needs to give Bert Kreischer a reality check, because Bert has let the Brogan fame spiral his life out of control. After Bert released his 2009 comedy special, Comfortably Dumb, he secured his own reality show on the Travel Channel called Bert the Conqueror. Despite the show being the biggest thing going for him, Joe Rogan and Bill Burr sat down with Bert to tell him some harsh truths. Bert said, "They sat me down and told me, your Travel Channel show sucks. You're funnier than that. You need to do specials. You need to do podcasts. Burr remembers the conversation vividly. He was down in the dumps trying to figure out what the next move was, and Joe Rogan and I were just starting podcasting. Joe is 100% the reason why Burt quit TV and began pursuing comedy and podcasting more seriously. But he did more than that. He invited Burt to be a regular on JRE from the very beginning. Burt has been a guest 37 times. In the beginning, the JRE community treated him like their funny fat friend who has some of the most ridiculous stories. He became wildly successful, securing multiple Netflix specials, his own reality TV show called The Cabin with Burt. The 2021/2022 Birdie Boy Tour was ranked number 4 in the top 10 highest grossing tours of the year, achieving a gross revenue of $23 million, selling 369,000 tickets over the course of 148 shows, and he even released his own feature film about his life that was in theaters. But the more successful he became, the more self-centered he became, once even referring to fans as pedestrians.
It's so funny, a comic's brain is so different than a pedestrian's brain.
But it just got worse. His alcohol addiction got out of control, his health was severely deteriorating, he became more obnoxious, constantly interrupting people, constantly wanting to be the center of attention. It got so bad where Joe just needed to humble him.
Both Tom and Christina are
Hold
very
on.
nice people,
I'm gonna be
and they'll
devil's
be
advocate.
very.
I'm gonna be devil's advocate.
Shut the f up for a second.
Or how about the time Burt tried to convince himself that Netflix photoshopped a different man's stomach on his body for the flyer of his Secret Time special?
Explain. My belly has fallen over like everyone else's. When I did Secret Time, I didn't realize that it already happened until they did the billboard of it. And they did the billboard, and I go, "That's not my stomach. My stomach's tight." And it was complete.
You have the craziest, most delusional perspective.
Realizing they're not going to budge, Burt tries to get Joe to compliment his shoulders.
Thought your belly was smaller than that.
I thought I was in great shape. And they put that up on Melrose, and I saw it. I drove past it, and I go, "Oh, they must have put someone else's belly on me or photoshopped it."
Yeah, like
and
this is like when you go like, "I have legit the best shoulders."
I do. Hold on, I do. I have legit great shoulders, like great fucking shoulders. Yeah.
No, you don't.
Joe, they're ripping through this shirt right now.
Yeah, but you say things you don't really mean it, right? Like when you say things you know they're not true.
Whether you think he deserves it or not, Joe Rogan has become the biggest comedy tastemaker in the world. I didn't even mention how he moved to Austin, Texas, opened his own comedy club, and created vast new opportunities for comics to maintain their careers. Most comedians don't rely on Joe's podcast for their relevance, but going on there and cracking some jokes isn't all that different than the 90s version of doing a 5-minute set on late night television. The only difference is there's no live crowd, and all you gotta do is make one bald conspiracy theorist who barely understands when you are joking laugh a little bit. And yeah, sure, maybe Joe has given some of his buddies an unfair advantage. The good news is you don't have to listen to them, nor do you have to buy tickets to their stand-up or watch their specials. But one thing you can't say about Joe is that he's not a great friend.
I value loyalty a lot, and I remember there was a moment when I was sitting with Joe and he had a phone call with you. Joe was getting canceled for something. They didn't want him commentating the fights, and you on the phone offered your resignation over this. I got teary-eyed over that.
Joe Rogan has been very loyal to me, and I am very loyal to Joe Rogan.
That's how it should be, though, right? Those who are loyal to you should be loyal
These
to.
people in your circle, you call them your friend. I mean, I would expect nothing less.
Facts, man. I just don't know. It's a lot of people like this. Once you, I guess. It's a lot of people who have gone down this route of once they become successful, everybody that's attached to them, they try to bring along. So I can't scrutinize that because that's just being a great friend. Like if you are becoming successful and if you have the platform to give a friend who's in similar, help them out.
Yeah, like if that's in your heart to do, like, I mean, you can do your part.
Yeah.
But
like
you can lead them, hey, but you can't hold their hand the whole time. But
facts.
Yeah, but
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
It's Joe Rogan.
I mean, I feel like if I had like a platform, like as large and like the impact or whatever that he has on, I would do the same thing. I would want to bring, my family or friends or whatever the case may be along. I mean, I'm not gonna hold your hand the whole time, but I give you some type of, outlet to do what you want to do.
Honestly, everybody would. So if you're a person to say you wouldn't, that's a show of your character. Like that just shows that how selfish you are.
Not every single person,
Not
but the ones that really, you know,
yeah,
that you really know want to do something with
and that's the key. That's
Yeah.
the key, man. But hey, spam us up. Let us know y'all thoughts about it in the comment
Please
section
do.
down below. But as always, y'all know how it go, man. I do go by the name DJ New Kid. This is
Here, Nicole.
We are.
Kid and C.
We out.
Go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my folks. Dollar, 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 dollar.